Good morning. Good morning. Good to have your company. Come on in. Welcome to the SHAC. What's the day today? It's Wednesday. It's the 3rd of June 2020. Wednesday, the 3rd of June 2020. It's a little bit cloudy today here in the southeast of England. Good morning. Come on in. Good to have your company. I wonder if this volume is okay. Let me just ask one of my team just to ping me a text and let me know. Perhaps Steve, you're in the building today, so I would appreciate just a little text from you just to let me know, or perhaps Jim if you're around, because Jim always has it on in the background, I think. Good morning, everybody. What's the weather like where you are? Is it a little less sunny today? Definitely more clouds in the sky today. So that means the temperature might come down a little bit, which suits me just fine. When you're working, or indoors, especially under the roof in an attic, it definitely is nicer when it's not so hot. Good morning, everybody. Come on in. It's Wednesday and we're on the Mandarin ducks. We're colouring in, and the wonderful progress that you're making, it makes my heart sing when I look on Facebook on Clarity Worldwide and I see the quality of the colouring is just super, isn't it? You know? And what's lovely too is that it's a benefit, isn't it? We hang out together, we redirect our thinking, don't we, a little bit as well, you know? The fact that we're all in this together, whatever it is that's going on, and your guess is as good as mine. So it's nice to hang out together. It gives me, nothing's changed since day one of this SHAC for me. Come on in. It's still my go-to place every morning, Monday to Friday, 10 o'clock. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I'm with. It's magic really for me. And I'm reading between the lines. I'm getting a really good vibe from many of you too. Yeah, everybody says the sound is good. Thank you, guys. Nice to have their company too. Paul, Lucy, Jim. It's nice when the team is around, and you know they are, isn't it? Bit of support, which is what this is, isn't it? Everybody uses it for different things. You know, the SHAC. Some people use it as a lesson in colouring. Other people use it in as a gathering place, a community. You know, a group of friends hanging out. Company. You know. Other people use it as an escape. There are so many reasons to be here, and we've still got loads of us. I thought when the sun came out you'd all clear off into the garden, but that is not the case. 1 hour a day, you still come here, and that makes my day. So come on in. Good morning. Where are you? I know you're in the same place you were yesterday, but for the benefit of the rest of us, where are you in the world? I'm in Crowborough, in East Sussex, and that is in the south of England, as the crow flies, if you like, between London and Brighton on the coast. That's where I am. Nice place, nice part of the world. We went for a walk, a long walk yesterday evening through the woods. There's some really old woods within 5 minutes from here. And instead of turning left yesterday, as we usually do, we carried straight on. We said, well, where will this road take us? And it was a much, much wider loop, but it was glorious, absolutely lovely. And we found our way home. It was twice as far, but it was good. It was lovely. You know, we're very lucky to be living in a place where we can walk out of our back door, see pretty much nobody, no cars, out in the countryside. I saw one lady running. Actually, there were a couple of blokes as well, jogging. But the lady, she stood out for me, you know, because I thought I should be doing that. And then I thought, I've never liked running. It's never been my thing. She didn't look like she was enjoying it too much either. Anyway, not my business. So, come on then, come on in. Welcome to the Shack Shack. Is it 10 o'clock yet? It's 10 o'clock already. Come on in, lovely. I can see all the twittering going on. You know, that's another nice thing, is that I love the interaction between you all, you know. Sometimes in the evenings I read the comments and I look at all the twittering and the chattering, and it's great. And you know, because it's positive, and it's positive. That's the word with a capital P. You know, it's uplifting, it's creative, it's fun, it's harmless, it's positive, it's all that loveliness. So welcome to the Shack Shack. Safe, happy and creative. Stay home and craft. It's a good thing, this is. It's a good thing. And it's evolved, doesn't it? It really has. One week we do doodling and we go off on our travels because we can. John Keats once said, "Ever let the fancy roam, pleasure never is at home." And I have to say, at the moment, I can find pleasure in things around, but you get where I'm coming from, you know. And so it's nice. One week we pack our virtual suitcases and we head off. Last week we were in Africa. Beautiful, wasn't it? Really lovely. And the artwork was just glorious. And then the week before that, we were doing the cockerels, the cock and the hen. Beautiful. Spotty Dotty, do you remember? And then we've been all over the place. We've been to America. We went to New Mexico, didn't we? That was lovely. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed New Mexico too. And then we went to Japan, and so on and so on and so on. And if you're new to the fold, if you're not sure what this is all about, if you go to Clarity Stamp YouTube, there'll be all of these are recorded, and they're there for your pleasure. So you can go back if you're feeling a little bit fed up with what's on telly, sick of the news. Then perhaps you just want a little bit of levity or a little bit of harmless creativity, then the Shack Shack's the place for you. And you can go right back to the beginning. You can work your way through. Then an American lady, she wrote to me yesterday and she said that she just discovered us. And she said she's going right back to the beginning and she's working her way through all the projects. Isn't that brilliant? But she also said that she's listening in, she's staying up to join us, and maybe she's with us today. And then she goes right back to the beginning and she's going to catch up with us eventually. Isn't that lovely? So welcome to the Shack Shack, here to keep you company. Let's get on with these Mandarin ducks, shall we? Colouring, colouring, colouring. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, we're on the postcards, aren't we? I can't believe I've just slung them on the side. You know, they took a week to do these things. I want to frame them. I'm gonna frame them. Look, I just found them on the side. That is like a disaster waiting to happen. My beautiful cockerel and his hen. I mean, nuthatches. I was looking up a couple of things. This is so interesting. Did you know? Look, here we go. Did you know nuthatches? Right, this is so interesting. You know, like you get, yesterday we were talking about a murmuration of starlings. What a beautiful word. This week's all about words, isn't it? Using good words, kind words, loving words, positive words. And yesterday I was talking about a murmuration of starlings. You know how when they swoop around, yeah? Murmuration of starlings. And then Dave and I got inquisitive. Because he's quite knowledgeable as a farmer, as an old farmer. He knows all the different, you know, like a murder of crows, or what is it? A murder of something. A murder of crows, yeah, not so good. You know, less pleasant. But he said it was a murmuration of starlings. And then I said, what about nuthatches? So he looked it up for me. Believe it or not, it's a booby of nuthatches. I mean, who came up with that? A booby of nuthatches. So I thought during the course of today, while we're colouring in, I'll throw a few more at you. We've got a booby of nuthatches. Not sure about the cockerels. Right. Mandarin ducks. Let's have a look. I really must look after those bits of artwork. This is where we're headed today. And remember, I said the reason I found the colours was because I Googled them. And then what was brilliant, well, look at these magnificent, look at that. Isn't nature wonderful, boo-boo? Booby. But I mean, that just, if you painted it and you didn't know it was real, you'd say, yeah, a little bit Walt Disney, isn't it? A little bit contrived. There can't be anything in nature that colourful. Well, yes, there can. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. And the great thing about this particular postcard is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities to practice. And so this is the one we're working on. And you can see I'm catching up with you slowly. But I thought it would be nice today if we've got a task, right? 2 tasks. I thought it would be nice, 2 different things, 2 completely different little skill sets. I thought we'd have a look at this one, which is very, very textured, and then we'd have a look at a smooth blue, I've done 3 different approaches to the blue, but I thought it'd be nice to take a light blue and a dark blue and then blend them seamlessly together so that you can't see where one starts and the other one finishes. I think that would be quite nice. Do you fancy having a go at that? Let's have a look at what I've done. And like I say, hey, there are no experts in this building. There are no experts in this building. It's all about time, giving time, and about pressure and layers. See? Check out the blue. That's what you want to be looking at, the blue, and also this mottled effect. You may not like it, you may want to do it differently. Listen, it's your postcard. This is my postcard, and this is the one in front of you is your postcard. So you can decide exactly what you want to do. Okay? Can you believe that their beaks are that lovely fuchsia pink? Well, that's a little bit extreme, but they are, you know. Check it out. I know. Look at the beak on that. Amazing, isn't it? Got a bit of a hook on it as well. Forget the hook. We're in for nice Mandarin ducks. Nice Mandarin ducks. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at the blue. Let's do this blue area here, right? And what we'll do is, right, you ready? Do you want to get started? Right, let's have a look. Let's get all our bits together that we need. Right, colouring pencils. Use what you've got in front of you. I'm using my polychromos for this one. I've got a whole rake of them. I've already put them in the tin, look, in the lid. And I put a bit of white card behind so I can see them. These are the ones that I'm using. And I put them in a semblance of order, right? I've just moved it. But I kind of put them in order of like light, medium, dark, darkest, light to darker, darkest, darkest, light blue, dark blue. Right. So these are the 2 that I'm going for here. If you've got the pergoliners, they've got a lovely light blue, dark blue in there as well. Look, light blue, dark blue, B16 and B4. And somebody on Facebook yesterday said they were using the watercolour. They're lovely as well, just exactly the same, except they respond to water. They're not exactly the same, but they do respond to water. But for the purpose of this colouring in, you can use them as well. Of course you can. They're colouring pencils, for Pete's sake. Right, so just pull that over there. Good news is, if you did order the polychromos from us, the Faber-Castells, they're flying in tomorrow, and then they're going to go straight out the door. So all things being equal, you should have them by the weekend, Monday latest. I hope so. So I do apologise for that delay, but it was out of our hands really. We ordered those many weeks ago. Right, so let's have a look. We're going to go for the blue. Ready? Let's do this blue. Everybody comfortable? Am I rattling? Am I going too fast? Oh, come on, we've got to slow down. We've got to slow down. Barbara Gray, you need to slow down. As soon as we start colouring, we will anyway, won't we? Light blue, dark blue. Let's have a look what we've got. Phthalo blue and phthalo blue. That's tricky. Okay, let's make it a bit more technical. Phthalo blue and light phthalo blue. That'll do. I think what I'm going to do, just because I can, bear with me a moment. I'm just going to come up here and let's get in a little bit tighter on that overhead, shall we? There we are. I reckon. It's a little bit strong, but I think it works better, don't you? I just have to bear in mind that I'm only working in this tiny little area. But that's okay, provided that I hold it in the right place. That's very close, isn't it? But there you go. I'll make sure. Do you know what I can do? I know what I can do. Watch. I take some masking tape. Old trick. And I'll make sure if I put that there like that. Let me just check something. If I do that, right, then I'm not going anywhere, you see, because I've put the masking tape to stop me going above it. So I know where that is, and then I know where I can show you there. So that works really well. Let me just see if the masking, no, you can't see the masking tape. So that's great. There's a little telly trick that I learned along the way. Right, let's go to number 2. Right, light blue, dark blue. And also, although we're right in shot here, so you can barely see it, I've got a bit of copy paper that I'm just going to put there so that I can test, or if I want to make a little, put it under here so you can see it. If I want to make a little test, I can have a look, see? Just check what I'm doing. Because I'm a lefty, everything is on the left, isn't it? Everything I own in a box to the left. Right, okay. So light blue first. The word of the hour is gentle. Gentle, gentle, gentle. So we're going to do this little bit here, this area here. Yeah? And we're going to go gently, gently, gently. So get that flat. Do you remember yesterday we were talking about making it a little bit flat on one side, just to get that chisel? Makes it softer for you. Where's my Dame Edna's? Definitely got to get my Dame Edna's on. I'm looking forward to going and getting my eyes checked so that I can see better. Right, here we go. Light blue, gently, gently, gently. And you're going to come in here as well. Just put that light blue in. Did you already do all your light blues yesterday? Well, let's just recap them. So we're going light blue from the top. Okay, gently, gently, gently. Very soft layer with the light blue. And then we'll take the dark blue and we'll go very, very gently, coming back the other way. Let's have a look. So this one, I'm going to turn it round a little bit because I feel it's easier. It's easier for me to make the artwork come to me. See, and I'm going very, very gently. And this is a darker blue. If I press harder, at the moment they both look the same. They do indeed. But they're not. So I've got my dark blue in that end. And at this point it looks quite gritty, doesn't it? Because it's so, you're not pressing hard, so it's quite gritty, if you like, textured, because it's picking up the paper from the postcard. Right, so we go dark blue, then we'll flick it round again. Now we'll add a little bit of light blue. Just making sure you can see what I'm doing. Right, here we go again. Bit more light blue. Another layer. Not pressing a lot harder, just adding another layer. In we go there. Okay. Remember that little trick we did yesterday with the SHAC and the swinging? Just swing across that wing. There you go. So that's getting quite, that's that layer. Okay. So the lighter colours are always easier, aren't they, than the darker colours, I find. So I tend to, it's funny, I don't know if it's the same for you. When I'm using a light colour, I'm braver. And then as soon as I go to a darker colour, I get all ginger. Do you? Is that just me? Right. So now what we're going to do is just gently add the dark blue at this end. Let's leave that middle bit out for a minute. Let's just not go there. Okay. Let's just not go there for a minute. Let's add some depth around the back. And again, I'm going to lift that up and I'm going to just add. See? So as you go over the top, it's all about layers. It's about pressure and layers. When you want to blend two colours together, if I made a really dark line in the middle there, I would have a job to ever blend the two. But because this is a really nice way. You know what we say? You can either do little circular like that, can't you? Or flick, 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 flick. You know? That's combination. Whichever shape you're colouring in, really. If you're going down that thin area there, I'd be tempted to flick more, see? So you'll see, as you start to layer up, let's think of it like this. You've got sections, if you like. And the darker the darkest bit gets, the lighter the lightest bit will appear. So if I was to just focus on this dark area now, which I'm going to because it's down the bottom, right? As I start to I'm not pressing hard though. Do you remember what we said with these blending pencils, with these oil-based pencils? If you press too hard, then you lose the ability to add layers over the top because you create a kind of a sheen. Do you remember we talked about that? Everybody okay? Everybody happy? Very relaxing this is. See? So you're just adding another layer of dark blue. See it changing though? The graduation. Because it's the darker that gets, the lighter that looks. So I could really now, just not pressing too hard, because as soon as I do that, I'll create the seal, and maybe I want to go another 3 generations darker blue than that. I could get another darker blue out. I could get a grey out over the top to really tone it down if I want to. See now here, let's say I want to add a bit of depth there. Let me take the light blue, because the light blue can be used as well. See? So here, instead of doing round, because it's so tight in there, I'm flicking, flick, flick, flick. See it changing though? I love this. I love the ability to control the colour. Now I'm using the light blue and I'm flicking into that area there. Do you see? But I'm using the light blue too to get a little bit darker. Just avoiding this bit, aren't I? See how it looks like the light's hitting it there because we haven't done too much colour in there. Yeah. So I've got choices. If I wanted to smooth that out a little bit, but I don't want to add more colour, then what happens if I add a little bit of whiteness over the top? Watch. Let's see what happens if I add a bit of whiteness over there. See, now I've got my dark blue and I've got my light blue, and now I've built a bridge. See? I've built a bridge and it's a lot smoother. See? I'm not saying, I don't know, I didn't read the rule book, did you? That's how it works for me. I'm sure there's somebody who knows the rules, but I certainly don't. And so say for example, these are great. If I let's go up real tight, see if we can, let's go in here, because I know, excuse it being all fuzzy. Let me come in further and further and further until you can see. See how we've graduated from the dark blue, the light blue at the top, and then in the middle, it's lightest, isn't it? See? And I could add more and more layers to that. Look at the purple underneath. See where we've put a flash of pink as if it was light, like a shimmer almost, isn't it? You see? I could go with these. This is something that you could work on for days, not just an hour. And I know that a lot of you do, because it really does. Oh, it makes such a difference, doesn't it? To spend a little time. See, these things, I keep bleating on about them. If you're into your colouring, these are worth investing in. These are the blending pens. Right, they're brilliant. And I'm using it dry. You can use it with oil. A lot of people that use these pencils use oils, you know, and we could too. But I think when you use a dry blending brush, like this, a nib, right, you'll see that you get that smoothness. You'll see it's almost like not necessary to use oil. And because they're so tight, what happens is it smooths it out so lovely. You get a really fantastic blend. Look, blend it. Well, clues in the name, blending pen. So you blend it, you see, and you just gently, 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 you move the colour around. Now let's have a look now, just at this one area that I've done. Right, I could blend a little bit more. I could blend a bit more. I could add a bit more colour as well if I wanted to. Do you know what? It's getting warmer and warmer in here again. Right, let me show you now. Even my masking tape's curling. Let's have a look at this one. Now, excuse the fuzz until I get close. See how smooth it is now? Look, I'm going to get closer and closer and closer. Do you see? It's like printed. Isn't that great? Right, so that is the first thing that I wanted to kind of just run through with you. You know, how you... Cool, I've got to take them off. how you could take a light blue and a dark blue and how you build a bridge so they're seamless, just like that. Lots of different tricks. I'm sure there are loads of you out there that already know this. I'm teaching you to suck eggs here, so to speak. Oh, sorry, pun. So that's the first thing I wanted to show. Let's have a sip of tea. What are we on today? I'm on peppermint. It's all right though. I like it. It's good for you. Good for the skin apparently. Good for the skin. Everybody all right? So let's see if you can remember. If you get the starlings in the sky and they do that swooping, what's it called? It's a beautiful word. Beautiful, beautiful word. Can you remember? Look, I'm like an old teacher, aren't I? Hey, listen, old habits die hard. Bit of interaction, come on. What's the name of starlings that they go make those beautiful swooping? Remember? Murmuration, that's right. And I bet you remember this one though. What about if you get a bunch of these together? Nuthatches. It's a booby. I know. Who makes them up? And I looked this up on Springwatch, so it must be right. It must be right. I love it. I love it. I've got a couple more. Kingfishers. I've seen one kingfisher on the Thames. I was so excited I nearly fell in the water. We were on a boat, my mum and dad and I, was it last year or the year before? And we went on one of those coach trips, you know, like the residents. They all meet on a bus and mum and dad said, would I like to go? I said, yes, I would like to go. I'd love to go. And we went to, we drove on the coach. We went all the way to, I can't remember where we went, but we went on the Thames. We were on a boat on the Thames. And where the Magna Carta, it was all around the Magna Carta, all around there. Anyway, lovely part of the world. And we were in the boat with loads of other people from Darland, from the residence area in the Medway towns in Gillingham. And, I've got to tell you a story about Gills as well. That is so funny. Gillingham. And then suddenly I saw this kingfisher in the trees around, just darting. Oh, and it was just this flash of turquoise. It was, honestly, I was so excited. It was like, kingfisher! Everybody rushed to the side of the boat where the kingfisher was. And you could just see this flash of turquoise just flitting along the river. Oh, And I'm sure you've all seen kingfishers, but for me it was a big experience. It could just as well have been an ostrich. You know, I would have been just as excited. Probably would have made more of a splash. But yeah, it was exciting. And so a kingfisher, what is, I mean, I've only seen one, but imagine if you had a whole family of them. What would that be called? Do you know? It's beautiful. It's a crown of kingfishers. Isn't that lovely? A crown of kingfishers. So there we go. A booby of nuthatches, a crown of kingfishers, a murmuration. I love that word. A murmuration of starlings. I know. And see, to me, this is just wonderful, creative, harmless, informative distraction. What else would you be doing on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock? And if you, yeah, I just think it's fascinating, isn't it? Oh, I've got another one I've got to tell you. This is so beautiful. Right, let's get some colouring in and then I'll tell you. Let me get my Dame Edna's on. Dame Edna's are these ridiculous glasses that I wear. Look at them with diamantes. But they are like Coca-Cola bottoms. And they're filthy. No wonder I can't see what I'm doing. I just realised. But they really help me because they're like magnifiers. And just for a short period, I wear them. You know, when we do parchment art, like groovy work and parching, you have to really, with the perforating and that, you have to see the holes that you're cutting. And so Linda said to me, you need to get glasses that are one number higher than what you would normally wear, like a proper magnifier. And, you know, I see Maggie Craner and the other ladies and Ros McClellan and Karen Smith. They always have glasses on top of glasses, you know, like magnifiers. And so I bought these ridiculous ones that really look like Dame Edna Everage. That's why I call them my Dame Ednas, look. Because I don't want to start wearing them. First of all, they're easy to locate in here. And secondly, I don't want to wear them for longer than necessary, beyond the project, because I have a feeling that the stronger the glasses you use, the more reliant you become on them, you know. And so these, you know, if I don't wear them out in public, well, you wouldn't, would you? Unless you were trying to draw attention to yourself. Look, they'd think I was some eccentric. If I went to Waitrose in these, they'd think, well, poor girl, she's lost the plot. And I wouldn't be able to see anything anyway, because you're like that all the time. And you can't, yeah. Look, see, all I can see is a blur. But it works for me when I'm doing my colouring and when I'm doing my parchment art. So, back to the Mandarin ducks. The Dandarin mucks. Let's have a look. So I wanted to look at this area here. Yeah? So what I think I'll do, so that I haven't got to do it later, it's the same thing, isn't it? Whether I do it in that one or in that one, it's going to be the same theory. It just saves me half an hour later on, because I've got a lot on my plate at the moment, as well you can imagine. Trying to run a business at this stage in the game is quite the challenge. So let's have a look. I'll do this one. That'll save me half an hour later. I've still got to do those two, but that's okay. I find it quite therapeutic, you see. It does do that for me. It works. It really does. So what we want to do first of all, if we look at this one, you want to decide if we're doing this flecky trick. It's worth knowing how to do it, isn't it? If we're going to do the flecky trick, then we probably want to know which way do you want it to come that way? That's a good idea, isn't it? So if that's the way you want your flecks to go, take your white one, right, start at the top and do little flecky white. Do you remember we did this ages ago? You can't actually see it, but it creates a fleck. So what you're doing, if I was to show you on here with a pencil, then you'd see I'm going like that, because this is the direction I want the flecks to go, right? But then as I come round, I turn it. So I go like that. This is what I'm doing with the white, like that, and then I come round to the front. So in that direction, Always leading off there, like that. And that I'm doing, but I'm doing it with a white pencil. So I want to show you roughly what we're doing, because this undercoat, hold on a minute, just let it, is it going to come? Come on, you can do it. Oh, I know what it is. See, there you go. It's because the colour was jarring. See? Okay, so we're going to do that. And we're going to do it with a white pencil. Everybody all right? Steve Ellen. Lovely Steve. He's in the building with you today, as I said. So if you've got any questions, do ask him, because he's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot about clarity. He's been with us for years. Haven't you, Steve? Since he was 18. About 18 or 19 you joined us, didn't you? Brilliant. Now he's got a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter. Isn't that lovely? Right, so we've done a little bit of white. Now let's see, because we want to start introducing some shadow. So I'm going to go to my absolute favourite grey. That's that warm one. Like warm grey 2 it's called. But if you're using the pergoliners, then go to a light brown. Go to, like, you could go to the peaches. That pink would be good. You could go into the aqua colours. They'd be nice. These ones here are quite good, see? Those ones are quite good. I was thinking in a couple of weeks' time, I think I mentioned it earlier this week, I was thinking that and we're going to do the same thing with this one. Same sketch every time. Same direction. It's a building game, this is. Right, like that. I was thinking we could, one of our colouring weeks, we could have a go at using the watercolour, couldn't we? We could give it a go. I mean, it only works if you've got watercolour pencils. But a lot of you have got the pergoliners, I know. We're boxing them up and sending them out all the time. Right, not too sharp, this isn't, is it? Just, seeing I'm using these lines. And I'll come round that way then. And then when I get to the head, round the back, just keep going. Right, flick, 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 flick. Right, okay. So we're just layering up, aren't we? And you see I'm going from the lightest to the next colour. So now I've done that one. So now I'm going to take a yellow, I think. I'm going to go with a yellow. Have I got dark cadmium yellow? Well, if I've got dark cadmium yellow, then the inference is that I've probably got light cadmium yellow. I'm going to play it safe and do a lighter colour. Yeah? Let's just do it. Right. Oh, it's a bit lemony, isn't it? Now I'm going with the dark one. Back to the dark cadmium yellow. Stick to the plan grey. Yeah. That's better. Interesting. I'm leaning on my my groovy guard. Anything will do. Piece of paper, anything. But I've got really clammy hands today. Hot. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of trying to go in between the grey bits. And the white, don't worry, the white will be revealed. So while we're doing this, let me tell you. What was that other beautiful one that I wanted to tell you? Oh, yeah. What a glorious... What about this one then? And skylarks. Skylarks. Lovely bird. What do you think? Skylark. So if you get a load of skylarks together... So we've had the murmuration. We've had the murmuration of starlings, the crown of kingfishers. We've had a booby of nuthatches. Now, what do you think? Thinking of beautiful words. How about an exaltation? An exaltation of skylarks. What a beautiful word. Isn't that glorious? An exaltation of skylarks. I've got another one for you. Finches. Finches. Tiny little things, aren't they? Finches. This is so beautiful. You know what? And the thing about it is finches, if you think about the words, skylarks and exaltation, it's very It's very accurate, actually, isn't it? It's like a murmuration. You know, when they're moving, the starlings, you can hear it. It's like murmuring when the wings are flapping. Brrr, brrr, you can hear it. And so I was looking at finches, and they're called a trembling of finches. Isn't that beautiful? A trembling of finches. I love language. I told you, language turns me on. It does. It's just amazing. So you've got a trembling of finches. And that word trembling, doesn't that just... Oh, hang on, wrong one. I thought, cool, she's coming along well. I thought, blimey, you're doing well there, Gray. No, hang on, we're still on the yellow up here. A trembling of finches, isn't that just gorgeous, you know? And then we're going to pick, so we're working our way down our colours, right? We're going to press lightly now, because it'd be easier to... Here we go, I'm going orangey now. So get a bit more random now. A bit more random, right? Not so much. Here we go. Yeah, language. Absolutely astounding. The English language is so beautiful. Mind you, so is the German language. Language is beautiful. It's the way we communicate. What, you know. But some of the words, I mean, German is a beautiful language. Often people say it's a harsh language. It's not. It's absolutely, you know, it's glorious. Glorious. My mum and I, we used to have such fun when I was a kid. Because German, you know, like English, we've got the, haven't we? The this, the that, the house, the just one. Well, in German, you've got der, die und das. You've got a masculine, a feminine, and a neuter, right? So that really puts the cat among the pigeons. So, for example, everything you look at has got a gender. Every single object has got a sex, a gender. So it will be like the bread is the bread, or the butter, or the cheese, everything. And I was good at German, but my der, die and das was all over the place when I was a child. That was where I fell short. And so my mum, she always used to try and teach me. Right, so now we've done the orange. Now we're going to go to, I think I'm going to go to a red. Let's try a red. So what orange did I use? I used dark cadmium orange. And now I'm going for permanent carmine. Let's have a look. Right, flick, flick, flick. Always in the same direction though, right? And it doesn't matter if it's not too sharp, and it's okay if it is. It's just getting, it's the layers, you see. It's the layers that do the job here. Right, so off we go again. Yeah, so my mum, she always used to test me. And she would say like, Brot, as in bread. And then I'd have to say der, die or das. And Käse, cheese. And then I'd have to go der, die or das. And I remember once, you know, like things that you never forget. And we were in the house, and she was at the top of the stairs, and I was downstairs. I don't know, we were doing the housework together. And she was going, she goes, and if I did it wrong, if I said it wrong, she would go, ah, as if she was being stabbed, right? So she goes, Brot. And I went, der. And she went, ah. So then I knew it was going to be das. So I got that wrong, right? And then she went, Käse, cheese. And I went, die. And she went, ah. Like, as if it was painful. I went, okay, der Käse. And then it was so funny. And then she went, what was the other one? Milk, right? And I went, das. And she was, ah. And honestly, every single one I got wrong, and she sounded like she was being stabbed to death upstairs. It must have been painful for her. But I tell you what, her teaching method worked. She didn't punish me, we just laughed our heads off. You know, I remember she said, you're bloody useless. Okay. I won't get a chip on my shoulder about that then, Mum. But now I know it's das Brot, der Käse und die Milch. You know, I know. And my mum helped me learn that. Isn't that great? But and then you get into the realm of cases. So if it's an object, or it's a subject, or it's dated, cases. accusative, nominative, it just goes on and on and on. And so genitive, does it belong to you? And all those different things. You see, now if you're German, see, this is where I say I'm bilingual, but I had to learn it. When you're German, like proper, born German, and not half English, you know that. You don't know why it is. You don't know why it is something. You just intrinsically know that it is. You know, it's so deep seated in your. I'm sorry, I'm using this one just to tone it down a little bit now. Just over the top, just smoothing out a little bit, just to give it a bit more, take the whiteness away. Right? So there's a marvellous thing about language, though. I find, I love it. I get off on language, and I find, you know, when you think about your own language, you know, as English people, you just know. You didn't have to learn it. You just knew it. Right, we're just putting a bit of shadow in here. I'm using the red. See, I'm going in with darker colours now, just to get a little bit of edge around here. Look, just flick, flick, flick. Same as we did with the blue. Just bring that colour into the speckle. Right. See how it's just bringing it in. And what's interesting now is, as I'm flashing over the top with the red, you see the little flecks staying? They're the white. Look, let's see if I can get in tight. There you go. See when you go into the red area, see there's little white flecks? That's when we laid down the white right at the beginning. So you go in softly and they come out. If you press too hard, you'll kill them. So you're not going to do that. Just going to go gently over the top. So we're just using a little bit of red here. Am I on the right one? Yeah. Right. Just adding a bit of shadow here. Yeah. So I love language. It's my thing. I will write a book one day. Just not quite yet. There you go. So what else have I got? Oh, I tell you what, now we need to go to a darker grey, because this, you can see here, this is definitely black and grey, isn't it? Right, so we're going to go in and we're going to add a bit more drama now. Rooks, I bet you know this one. These figures as well. I'm using a grey now, dark grey. If you've only got black or you've got an HB pencil, use that. Right. Black's quite very opaque. It works. Black works well. Let's do one thing at a time. Rooks. Go on. I bet you know this one. It's a little quiz, isn't it? It's like a little pub quiz, except we're not in the pub. Rooks is a parliament. A parliament of rooks. How about that? A parliament of rooks. Got another beautiful one. This is beautiful. Wrens. We've got wrens in the garden. Little tiny, tiny little birds. A wren's nest is just like a little ball. Beautiful little thing. Right, yeah, we've got wrens in the garden. Now, what do you think? Wrens, if you get a whole family of wrens together, a whole, we would think of a flock, wouldn't we? It's beautiful. It's called a chime. A chime, like chiming. A chime of wrens. Isn't that lovely? I looked up why, this is weird, right? I looked up why, because obviously back in the day, I would say probably Victorian times, the gentry, there we are, the gentry, they came up with all these different descriptions for flocks of birds, for different birds, and it was used in upper class circles as a kind of an indication of your education. So if you knew all these things, If you knew that it was a chime of wrens or a booby of nuthatches or a quarrel of sparrows or a trembling of finches, or how about this one, a mischief of magpies. If you knew all these things, I mean, imagine sitting in the gentleman's club, banding that about. Weird. But this would be an indication that of your education, because you knew these things. You'd make it up as you went along, wouldn't you? Right, should we go for the black one now? This is going to be the one that gives you the shadow, right? So black, little flicks. Are we happy? Are we all right? I'm not going too fast, am I? Let's have a look. Yeah, my mum and I used to have really good fun with language. So here's one for you, right? Because I know there are several German friends in the building as well, right? You'll probably know this. She used to do this thing, like, ich und du. So that means, right, ich und du means I and you. Ich und du, right, Müller's Kuh. So that means Miller's cow, right? Ich und du, Müller's Kuh. Müller's Esel, that's Miller's donkey, das bist du, that you are. So it's a rhyme that goes, Ich und du, Müller's Kuh, Müller's Esel, das bist du. Right, well that's, say that a couple of times, get bored with it. We never got bored with this, right, you ready? Used to have so much fun with it. She would go, Ilich ulundulu, mülle lalas kulu. Mülle lalas ilis ala dallas billis dulu. So you take every word and you put a lich in it. Le. So ilich, ich, ilich, ulundulu, ich und du. Ilich ulundulu, mülle lalas kulu. And now, if we did that when we were 5 years old, 15 years old, and do you know what? I could ring my mum now and go, here, mum, Illich, and she'd go ulundulu, mulalalas kulu. And then there was another one we used to just play with the words. So she obviously has got the same thing in her DNA. Maybe that's where I get it from. I mean, she speaks wonderful. She's got a very strong German accent. She speaks fantastic English, though. She knows, she's lived here 60 years now, mind. But she never lost her German either. She still speaks. If I want to know, is it der, die or das, I ask my mum. She knows. She never missed a trick. Sometimes you meet Germans that have lived here all their lives, and they've lost their language a little bit, because of lack of practice. So illich ulundulu mililalas kula. Or you can say, instead of ich, you go ich lefich. So you go ich lefich und lefont de hu lefu. Did you used to do stuff like that when you were kids? So, we could have hours of fun doing this stuff. Do you still do that stuff with your grandchildren or your children? Yesterday on the blog, I blog every day, as you know. And yesterday on the blog, I was larking about. I'm overcooking this, look, I'm going too dark, look, compared to the others. But I was larking about with spoonerisms, where you take the first letters and you swap them over, and rest. I was going to rest my neck. I nested me wreck. Nest your wreck. Yeah, I love stuff like that. It's just again, it's harmless and it's playful, and it goes back to what we were talking about on Monday. When we were talking on Monday, I'm just going to use a blending pen. I've got 2 little things I want to sort out. I'm going to use my blending pen and a nib, and also my rubber, and they can't come a day too late either. Look, they're on the boat with the polychromos. We really hope. Right, I found one though. Look, oh, I know. Owning the company does have its advantages. Right, so what I want to do is I want to take my rubber and I want to rub this area here because I've got quite a lot of colour in there. Right, let me show you. So what I'm going to do now, do you remember I said to you weeks ago, I said I haven't got the rules. It's like that boyfriend that I used to have, the fantastic artist who used the hairdryer and the toilet roll, and he used to work away, and it didn't matter, you know, he would scratch with knives, he would tear stuff, he would blot stuff, you know. It doesn't matter. This is not breaking the rules, putting colour in and then wiping it down again. Not at all. It's getting to where I want to be. So if I think this is a little bit too dark, because I was waffling away about Ilihulundulu, right? Shame my mum. My mum and dad, they can't work out how to do this Facebook Live stuff or YouTube. We're trying to get it sorted for them, because I know it would give her immense pleasure. They're still in lockdown. Remember yesterday I said with a rubber, you can make a chisel with it if you want. You've got more control over this than you think, which is great because you ain't got a lot of control over much else, right? So you can chisel, see, and then you can get right in on your. I might bring a bit more colour in again, but I can certainly see the lovely thing about this is, you know, like we made the light there in the blue. With this one, you see, you can create light by putting the colour in. And then, look, see how it's dark here? So it's light there where I've taken it away. And then I'll just use my blending pen just to blend in a little bit, because this looks a little bit too patchy for me. But if I just blend these colours in, you watch how lovely this looks in a minute. So you don't have to accept. That's the lovely thing. It's all correctable, isn't it? It's all very correctable. See? It's looking good now. And I might look at that and go, do you know what? I fancy a little bit of pink in there. I think I'm going to add a little bit of pink. But what's great is, and when you look at it, if we look in closer at this one, if we look at the third one that I've been doing at the top, let's go in real tight. Just let it go off. I know it's going to go fuzzy, I know. Look, see? But if you look, the white that we laid down right at the beginning, it's still there. Bingo. So you can decide, I quite like that. I'm quite happy with that one. No? There you go. And then you can tone it down. You can use your neutral grey just to graze it up a little bit. It just gets the stripiness out. But then you might want a little flash of red or a little flash of, you just bring it back in again. See? So in the end, we've covered all of the Mandarin duck now, haven't we? We did the beak, the eyes, the head, the crest, the tail feathers, the bottom bit. We've spent 3 days on these ducks now, but there's 5 of them. Count to 5 in German, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Listen, we were doing Swahili last week. Ha ha ha, hujambo. I tell you what, you just don't forget it, do you? Hujambo. Hakuna Matata. I love these get-togethers every day. So tomorrow, what we'll do is, I'm going to finish all my birds. I'm going to do all my Mandarin ducks. And then tomorrow, I want to pay attention to the water lilies. The water lilies. That's what we're going to do tomorrow, the water lilies. And then we've got 2 days then to do the water lilies and the water. And I've got between now and then to figure out how it works. Don't think for a minute that I'm weeks ahead of you on this. I'm exactly 12 hours ahead of you on this. Okay? But it's all right because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my toes. I hope that you enjoyed that session. Little trip down memory lane for me. It's all good, isn't it? And so tomorrow we'll get together again. And I hope that you have a lovely day. What about all that out there? Just, you know, think about beautiful words, stay positive. You know, we were talking about changing our direction of our thoughts so that we don't panic so much. Remember we were talking about that on Monday, weren't we? And we said, you know, you've got to watch your thoughts because your thoughts become words. Remember I said I'm going to stop swearing because it takes me down the wrong path. That's quite, for people who know me, I've got a bit of a potty mouth. So for me to declare it publicly, that I'm going to curb my language. That's not a bad thing, you know. But I think it's like a paradigm shift. What I'm trying to do is just change, get away from that angry language and go into beautiful language and playful language and poetic language. Because I think if I use nicer language, then my thinking will be gentler, you know. Because at the moment, there is a lot to get angry about. And the news will fuel that. The news fuels it, the reporters fuel it, you know, and in the end we're all screaming at the television and we're getting all anxious and angry. And you know what? You might as well be gnawing at your own ankle, because nobody is affected except you and the poor soul that's sitting in the armchair next to you. Old habits die hard. I really have to focus, you know. But it's all doable. It's all doable. And maybe some of you want to join me, you know. It's about redirecting your thinking process. It's working for me. I've had a much more, less aggressive week in my head, you know. It's much better. And yesterday, I spoke to Grace in New York, you know, and she was in a really vulnerable, sad, upset state. And it's a mother and daughter thing again, you know. And Gracie, she's not been letting me know how frightened she is of the situation in New York as a mixed race girl, right? Just as anybody really, but that's another layer, isn't it, at this particular moment, right? So, and she hasn't been telling me because she knows I've got a lot on my plate. And I haven't been sharing with her all the things that are going on in my world. So last night we got it all out on the table and we shed some tears and we looked at it, you know, and it felt so much better afterwards rather than hiding it, you know. And we just looked at it, we looked at her situation, we got our gratitude list out. And by the end of the conversation, thank goodness for FaceTime. You know, you can see each other. I can see her. She's an actress, for goodness sake. That's her career. You know, she could pull the wool over anybody's eyes. But when I look into her eyes, I know that this is Grace now. You know, not Grace pretending that everything's fine. So it was good last night, and it works. And what I'm saying is that my trying to redirect my language is helping redirect my frustrations and my aggressions, because I'm not giving them fuel. I'm not feeding them with bad language, you know. So there you go. Just the way I'm trying to deal with things, you know, a day at a time. It works for me. It's working for me. It really is. So maybe one of you, maybe somebody out there is thinking, do you know what? I'm going to give that a go. You know, because the colouring's certainly doing the trick. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Do me a favour, if you're sitting near a screen, if you could like, follow and share this, then maybe somebody else will benefit from this. You know, maybe somebody else is freaking out and effing and blinding and wishing that they could get out of their heads and do something more pleasant, and they're feeling trapped. You know, I think a lot of us are feeling like that. We're not alone, are we? And there's a great comfort in knowing that it's not just me. It's you and you and you. It's all of us. You know, we're all in the same boat. And I take great comfort in that too. So have a fabulous day. And tomorrow morning, we're on the water lilies. I'm looking forward to that. Lots of love to you. And I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks, Steve, for helping. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. Bye-bye now.